Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee Talk, January, what is it, 12th?
13th.
13th.
It's the 13th because it's the start of the NHL season.
That's right,
But it comes out on the 14th.
But that's right.
Oh,
For you, it's
right.
the 14th.
So you will have
Coffee
seen
Talk
what
on
we
the
talk
14th.
about tonight, yes. Speaking of the NHL, who's a fan? Are you guys going to be watching, paying attention?
I'll get the highlights.
This
I'll
is
watch
an
the highlight
awkward
reel.
one. This is an awkward one for me, Jeff, because I'm too cheap to pay for Sportsnet. This is what burns me about a little bit about our cable package is it's way more money to get all the sports, like to get a sports package. And I can't just get.
Yeah.
No, what burns
Yes.
me is that I need TSN for certain sports and I need Sportsnet for others,
Yep.
and it's like I don't want that. I want, and so what I will do is for TSN you can get just like a day at a time. You get a day pass. Sportsnet doesn't have a day pass. Right. You have to pay. Is it a month or a week at a time? But I don't want to pay for a week just to watch one game because I can't watch every game. So the odd time I want to just tune in and watch one game. Anyways,
So-
you've just hit a nerve.
I hear you, man.
We hear that.
I hear it.
So I
But
don't.
your boys are into it.
So my son Gabe, second son, he wants us to buy the NHL, I don't know, whatever access to all of
The
them
season
on
pass
any
or whatever.
device,
Yeah.
I would like to watch the random football game like the Super Bowl. I come from
Yeah.
the States, I gotta watch the Super Bowl
Sure.
and have a party, even if it's just the four of us, my family, but, so, same idea. Do we pay the thing so he can watch any NHL game and
Yeah.
then buy one game for football or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I still think YouTube highlights is the way to go.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not.
I don't need to watch the whole game. I don't have
Actually,
I don't
I don't-
have 3 hours of time anyways to sit down
Yeah.
and watch a game.
It is
Give
the
me
best.
10 minutes.
It is the best for me when the games happen to be a Saturday night and CBC
Yes.
does pick it up. Because I also do prefer to have it recorded. Like I like to tune in about an hour into the game, hour and a half into the game, because then you can fast forward all the commercials and you can skip through the
yeah.
intermissions. And by the time the game ends, usually I've caught up to the live. Right by the last few minutes. So if I time it right, so I'm ending so that I don't end up picking up my phone and seeing the final score and having
Right.
that ruined. But I don't have to watch commercials because that's
there is something nostalgic though about sitting, I just remember doing this, and for me nostalgia is a football game, because
Right.
we would, Thanksgiving in the States, you eat, and you veg in front of the
sure. Yeah.
in Detroit
do it
Lions,
like this,
yeah,
right?
exactly. You gotta be, like just unbutton your pants and whatever. But there is something nostalgic about sitting down, and then when the commercial comes, you go to the fridge,
Yeah.
right, and then
Yeah.
come back, like Sunday afternoon.
Or you tell your kids, okay, go get PJs on, and
Yes,
then on the next
yes.
commercial, go brush
Yeah.
your teeth. Okay, so
Exactly.
who is Gabe's pick to win?
Oh, I don't know who his pick to win is. His favorite team is the Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
Really?
Yes.
How did that
Okay.
come?
Well, he's a goalie,
Yeah.
so he likes Carey Price.
Very
Yeah.
good. Okay.
That's a good choice.
Can't fault that.
I don't know how he
Good BC
got
boy.
I don't know how he got attached to him, but man, for the last 4 or 5 years that he's been into hockey, that's his team.
Okay.
And then he likes the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
Hates the Flames, sorry.
You never
Just like
need to
everybody else.
apologize for that around here. Never apologize for hitting the Flames.
And so Cheryl and I aren't avid fans, but
Yeah.
whatever city we're in, we adopt that. So
Sure.
I lived in Detroit. I was a Red Wings fan. I was in Avalanche when I was in Denver. And we've been Canucks fans and still are now because that's
Yeah.
the closest. So that's for us. We're like, well, why can't you be a Canucks fan? But he's
Yeah.
like, I like the Montreal Canadiens. So
I
yeah.
can't remember what game I was watching the other day. It would have been. It must have been a football game because that's just what's been on, right? The NFL's been on, and I'm watching a team, and the kids are all like, "Oh, you're cheering for?" And I said, "This is probably a Seahawks game." And Joelle is like, "Well, I like that other team." I'm like, why? She's like, "I like their colors."
Yeah.
Don't do that to
that
me.
was my mom.
Don't do that
She
to me.
hated when we watched games, but when she'd
Yeah.
come in, oh, who's the orange team?
have yellow in their uniform. They're
Yeah,
nice.
exactly.
No, they're
Yeah,
not.
it's really
Anyways,
great.
so, all right.
So, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it has really been bothering me that Edmonton players, and it's not that I'm unable to cheer for Edmonton. I can get behind Edmonton in theory, but they have keep going on about how last year they were they were the best Canadian team, and so I want to see them humbled a little bit because of that, but we'll see. So tonight it's Vancouver, Edmonton starting off, and or whatever it is for Thursday. I don't know. I haven't paid enough attention, but we'll see. See if I get to watch the game tonight or not.
Gabe and I got to go to 2 years in a row that opening exhibition game, Oilers versus Canucks, and I think it swapped one year one and 1 year another run. That was a fun game.
I do remember one time, so our friend Brad Reed is a huge Oilers fan, and I remember one time when he was living in just outside of Calgary, I went and visited him, and he had got us tickets to a Edmonton in Calgary game. Oh. And we went, I thought, well, in solidarity, like I didn't really care, but in solidarity with Brad, I'm going to cheer for Edmonton. And no way. So that felt like we were that felt like one of the most riskiest things I've ever done. You know? Like I've walked down East Station, I've walked some pretty sketchy neighborhoods in my day. But just that moment of cheering for Edmonton in the Saddle Dome just felt like the riskiest thing I've ever done. And so never have I been more alive than those games.
Well, I have to be honest with you, and I'm really sorry, Kevin, again, and you told me not to apologize.
I'm feeling very insulted by you.
But I've never met a Calgary Flame fan until I met you. People just hate the Flames.
Well, typically they hide their hand in shame.
I guess, I don't know. So,
That's because,
sorry to anybody else who likes the Flames.
That's because you said it earlier, because you haven't lived near there.
Yeah.
As soon as you live near there, then I think you'll adopt them and you'll enjoy them.
Chris just said he almost got killed because he was...
Well, I mean...
No, that's only because the Calgary-Edmonton thing has been going on for forever. So if you're a Calgary Flames fan in Edmonton, you'd feel the same way, right?
Yeah.
Or in northern Alberta. And actually, I even think about my uncle, who 1 year ago this week actually passed away, but he was living in northern Alberta, major Flames fan, and all the guys that he worked with on oil rigs and all kinds of stuff like that just gave him the gears because he wore his Calgary stuff with pride. And Calgary, Coke.
Yeah,
that's funny.
That's Uncle Darryl.
Yeah.
There you go. I would say there was one... I can't remember how many years ago it was, but when the Oilers, it was one of those years where they couldn't give tickets away because the team was so horrible. And I'm sitting in class at Taylor in Edmonton, and someone in class mentioned that, like, oh, there's a game tonight, and they just can't give away the tickets. I was tempted. I did think about it for a split second, like, oh, maybe I could find my way to the state, but I ended up deciding not to. I'm like, oh, forget it. I think Sheena and the kids were all with me that week. I'm like, I can't ditch them to go watch the Oilers lose. But now I at least I'm sure that's not the case these days. I mean, it is watching McDavid play would be pretty fun. He wasn't on the team then, so even then, so it shows you how old it is. But anyways,
well, shifting gears here.
Yes, we're drinking Tim's. Is that what you're about to
We're drinking Tim's, and you and I really must be working together to help our buddy out because he puts Tim's down a lot. So we both went out and bought Tim's for him.
We made sure he had a double shot. Well, because we've sort of done a review of Tim Hortons before when we were on the mountain during the vote or the blood services or something.
Yeah.
And this is different. Mm-hmm. This is the new and improved and enriched.
Can we put that in air quotes? Improved.
It's the dark roast,
It's the new dark roast.
Yes. Yep. So here's what's improved about it. They got the order right. As I recall from that day on the mountain, they messed up the coffee big time. It was like sweetened and had cream in it. I said black, and it was a mess. So it's at least right. We'll give them that. I don't know if it's improved. It's okay. Oh, I think we can say that. It's okay. I'm not hating it.
I feel like it's improved.
It likely is.
It's not as watery. It has a little bit more to it. I would take it.
They make a big deal about
they've raised themselves on the virtual
with it
on the virtual
board of where they rank.
Yeah.
That's fair. I do think it's a little better. It's actually even better, I will say this, than a coffee I made the other day at home. I don't know what I did. Not yesterday morning, the morning before, I made coffee at home, and it was a little tough to suck back. Sheena's afterwards was like, "What did you do to the coffee?" It was one of those mornings where I was like, "Oh," and it's better than that. But Sheena will tell you that's not saying much because she couldn't drink it, whatever I did to it. I don't know what I did to it that day. If I just threw in an extra scoop or what. Because we have a burr grinder that sets the thing for you. Like, you know, on a blade grinder, you can just over grind it, and then it's powdery, and then or whatever, you under grind it, and that. But we have a cheap burr grinder that, you know, so it just falls through, and it's a little more consistent. You kind of can't mess it up. So I don't know what I did at home that day. You know what? I thought was more interesting. Tim Hortons was in the news yesterday because of how they've been accused of stealing someone's patented thing. Did you see how they put the lids on today? Were they using some
it was
controversial device where someone like
putting my card away when I saw
paws all over it?
I drove through, so
yeah. I'm intrigued by that, by the idea that there's like this. Someone's developed a plastic lid thing that just so you don't have to touch it.
But I'm all behind that because even just now, taking the lid off, you're actually, with this lid, you're actually not even sure if it's on. You gotta keep pushing. I'm even a little bit scared to lift and,
Well, as you saw, I did it a moment ago. It is a little funny to me that somehow it's acceptable for someone's bare hand to touch. And I know some people think, oh, they had gloves, but to me, a glove is no different than your skin. You touch something and then something else is dirty, just as if so. Yeah,
so that's why in any professional kitchen they don't use gloves. Gloves are a misnomer because you actually are just supposed to wash your hands, have clean hands, use your clean hands on the food, prep it well, wash your hands again. It's a better thing than gloves.
I think sometimes people think a glove gives them immunity. You know, like you're like, oh, I'm invincible. I can do whatever. I saw you just like scratch the back of your head with your glove, and now you're reaching for lettuce. It's like gross. It's like just wash your hands. But anyways,
so hopefully this is strong enough to keep you moving throughout the morning and throughout the rest of our discussion.
It's not that. I mean, I know they've made a big deal about how it's bolder, richer. Okay. And they've also made a big deal about how it's like a bunch of the beans come from Sumatra and Indonesia. And I'm like, oh, that sounds fancy and fine, but you know, it's all about what's it like to drink.
You just don't like Timmy's.
I don't hate Timmy's. I just think it's overrated.
Tim's is Chris's Calgary Flame.
Yes, that's right.
They are the Calgary Flames of coffee.
No, they're not.
Anyways, no, you're right. It's not. They're the Toronto Maple Leafs of coffee. Everyone tries to say it's Canada's team.
True. Now you're
it's not.
My in-laws would
the original.
be after you now.
They're the original. They were there long before any of us out here were.
Yeah.
Well, fine, but you know what?
That doesn't mean they're good.
No, exactly. You know what bothers me most about the Toronto Maple Leafs these days is Austin Matthews' mustache. Do you remember when he was growing? I can't look at that guy.
Well,
anyways.
I think we can conclude any mustache. Has there really ever been a good mustache in all of humanity's history?
I don't keep up.
No.
You know what? That's a tricky subject, and I have never given it much thought. Also, my dad used to rock a mustache for many, many years, and I thought.
You know what? I would actually say the only one that I think would stand up, Tom Selleck, of course, but Sam Elliott has always rocked a good mustache.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Lanny McDonald.
No, I was going to say that, and I thought you were going to take this out. Jeff, move us forward.
So, on that note, we love you all, whether you wear a mustache or whether you're Calgary Flames fan or whether you like Timmy's or something else.
There's room in God's family for
That's right.
all the blessing.
AGM coming up.
Yes, the AGM is coming up on the 31st, 6:30 p.m. Zoom Connect.
Yeah, Zoom only. Zoom only at this point. Because if you haven't heard, we're still in this lockdown state till beginning of February.
Can I just stop you on one thing? I don't want to confuse people because today, Wednesday, like Ontario is starting a whole thing of lockdown. I don't want people to think
maybe lockdown is the wrong
So
word.
lockdown might be the wrong word, but we are not allowed to hold group gatherings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to hold group gatherings. So you can go out and about, but don't come here.
Yeah, we're in a holding pattern from the November 19th order. How's that? Good?
I think that's
That was
correct.
extended January 7th, right?
Yeah.
Till February 4 or something?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So yes, so don't come here. Get a Zoom link. If you've not used Zoom before or you haven't used it since October when we had that meeting, contact us in the office and we can do a test call with you to make sure that your equipment's working and all of that so that you don't miss a minute of the meeting. We'd love to help you with that. So give us a phone call and we'll set up a test Zoom call with you, and you can make sure that everything's figured out and worked on your end. And but please do that sooner than later, because as we get closer to the 31st, there might be a few people needing help with that, and we want to have all the time in the world to help you with it. So give us a call, and we'd love to help set that up for you.
What's really cool about the AGM is that, like we talked about it last week, that membership is happening, but what's also part of that is that our deacons and the three of us are hearing a lot of testimonies these days for people who are becoming new members, and we'll get to that other part in a minute, but the idea of just hearing somebody's life story and to hear like where God has brought them and where they stand today and say, this is who I am, this is who Christ is to me. It's a really cool thing, and it's something I think we don't do enough of. I remember there's a lot of, not courses, but like even Bible studies that we had taken that said, make sure you have an elevator pitch testimony to say, this is what God did in my life, this is how I've changed, and this is why I would encourage anybody to be a part, right? Like to have that 30-second thing or 5-minute or, getting into somebody's life, a couple of hours of saying, here's all the amazing things God has done, because I think that's what Scripture tells us is a way that we also share the gospel too.
Oh yeah.
And I think we forget about that so much. Like, here's this church program, here's this church program. This will lead you to Jesus. When a lot of times it's in our back pocket, right?
Oh, totally.
Oh,
and for anyone who feels like God is distant, they need to hear how God is real to
Yeah.
you, to me, to others, right?
Yeah.
And so that's important. But you know what else I find so significant about sharing that testimony story? It helps me not be focusing inward so much, right? Especially in seasons like this. Like a lot's being said about how during the pandemic, a lot of people are struggling with mental health. For me, a lot of it is when my eyes are on what Jesus is doing today, and thinking through that here's a whole bunch of stuff that God's done, here's how God has been real, and here's how God has been active, that helps me significantly have a right perspective on myself and on what my situation. And so, yes, it's so important and beneficial for sharing Jesus with others and helping them come to faith. It helps me just live today too. If I've rehearsed that, if I've shared with someone, here's what God's doing. And so for you, I would say, think about that. If you haven't shared your testimony in a long time, maybe take 10 minutes this week and think about what would I say? What is God just doing in my life today? And you might find that really helps you with whatever you're going through this week.
Write down three bullet points.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. I keep a journal and I randomly write in it. I haven't written it for a while, so I don't need to, but I love going back because there's so much that I forget.
Yeah.
And then be like, but I also, on the other hand, I love hearing people's stories. Like we just, a deacon and I listened to a story yesterday and it was just so cool to see how God is at work. And even in the hardship, there was a lot of hardship in these stories, and yet they saw God at work, and you're right. I'm enjoying listening to these and excited that many of these stories will be shared over the coming months as well.
It's always good to hear what God is doing in someone's life.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Yeah.
Can I jump in with something new that we got going on in the kids ministry world?
Yeah.
Here's something that's been on my mind for a little bit, but really kind of got some legs yesterday, just this week. As you probably know, at 9 a.m. every Sunday morning, our kids ministry video for the week premieres, and then an hour later, our church service starts. But the kids ministry video is never an hour. I mean, it's sometimes as little as 10 to 20 minute range. And we really have not been able to do anything where we could bring kids together and bring families together, I don't want to like make it seem like it's a bigger group than it is, but I've heard from a couple teachers how much they miss the kids, and so I thought let's just do a Zoom hangout with our kids ministry in that kind of 30-minute gap between the kids ministry video wrapping up and the service starting. So I'd invite you, kids and parents too, if you want to join in. We're going to try that this week on this upcoming Sunday, 9:30 to 9:55. We're going to do a 25-minute window there so that we're all done before the service starts. Zoom link will be in the email with the bulletin this week, and if you want to just kind of hang out, we'll have a couple things organized. The planning is still kind of coming together a bit, but just a chance for kids to kind of see each other, say hi, hang out. Maybe we'll play a game together, or maybe we'll have a song together, stuff like that, just to kind of have a bit of a feel of our kids program like we used to. And so you can watch the kids ministry video at 9 and then jump onto the Zoom at 9:30, and we can just spend some time together on Sunday morning like we all miss doing.
Yeah.
And so that's the hope. So I invite you to look for that email, and hopefully we'll have some of our kids ministry teachers on there too, and some kids just to hang out and be together, and invite you to join us in that. I don't know that it's going to be every week. The plans still coming together on it, but it didn't seem like, it kind of to me felt like, why wait? If it's, we can do it, and things might change as we go. It might only be kind of every other week, but we'll see.
That's great.
Sounds great.
Look for that. Love to spend some time with people Sunday morning on Zoom, and since we're not doing it down the hall, we might as well do it all over the interweb. So that's something new coming up, and looking forward to it. Oh, we mentioned it briefly. Just a reminder, last week we invited you, if you're thinking about membership, to call us. We'd still love to, there's still room. We've got a good number of people who already said, yes, we're going to become members. But there's still time. If you want to get your name on that list, want to join in that, want to know more about what membership is, there's a couple handles for you. One, you can go to the website. We've got a whole membership page, which will tell you what membership is from a Lakeview perspective and what it means. Also found an interesting video this week that the first 10-15 minutes of it are gold for you. I mean, you can watch, it's an hour long. I didn't even get through it all, but because the first few minutes are gold, talking about what does it mean to be a church member. It's one of those things, I was saying to these guys a little bit ago, the video's from 2013, and so I turned it on, I'm like, oh, it's a new video. And then I realized, oh, that's 8 years ago. But you know what? Church membership hasn't changed in 8 years, so it's still pretty valid. We'll link it down below if you want to check that out. Will YouTube let us put a link to a Vimeo video? That's cross-platform? I don't know if we're going to break the internet here.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if you want to check that out, if you're still questioning why is church membership important? What does it mean? And one of the things that came up in this video that I really appreciated is that they kind of look at that whole idea that the membership has rewards kind of thing, which, I mean, I've got a number of reward cards in my wallet. I love that most of my rewards cards are now apps on my phone, so I don't have to carry as much plastic around. Although I guess, never mind, that's a route. I'm like, I have more plastic in this in my wallet, but whatever. It's, they take that idea that, of doing something just to get rewards, but really flip it that membership is its own, it's rewarding in a different way. As you take up that responsibility, as you grow deeper in Christ by being accountable in different ways, as you, serve on deeper levels. That doesn't mean you can't serve at Lakeview if you're not a member. Obviously, there's lots of people serving even if they're not members. And so sometimes we get a little fuzzy on why membership. But this just kind of sums it up in a real nice, concise way. And I always appreciate it when really smart people who spend a lot of time thinking about things can say it in a really good way, because they say it better than I can, even in this rambling bit. So if you want to check out that video, the link's down below. And would love to hear if you're thinking about membership. Call us up and we'll work it out and get you on the list. So, which just means meeting with a pastor or a deacon and sharing your testimony and why you want to be a member, and then getting voted in, affirmed in, I think is really more it, at the AGM on the 31st.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's not, there's no real big, what's the word for it?
It's not like an interview where you have to be ready and nervous about. Or
it's not meant to be intimidating. It's not like it's not like defending a doctoral thesis, and you have to be able to say all that. It's just like, where's your walk at with Christ?
We want to hear what Jesus is doing in you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into every little theological point that you've probably never even knew was a theological point. It's just what's going on in your life with Christ, and this is what church membership is. So.
And I think more than anything, it also gives us that opportunity and challenge and encouragement to kind of, we've talked before, maybe not in this group, but like in a lot of other circles, about accountability, accountability partners, accountability group, and all that kind of stuff. This is a really, really large accountability group in a good way. And so I think what it does is it says, okay, so this is kind of the baseline. How can we, like Scripture tells us, spur one another on, right? And to say there's more that we can and should be striving for as a community, as a church, as followers of Christ. It's not just about attendance. That's not what membership is, and you could call Lakeview your home, but still not be pursuing those kinds of things that are really the deeper part of faith and community. I think that's the biggest word that it's really coming down to, is community. And that's kind of what they get into that in that video, is that's how they start, is this is about community. This is what Christ established. This is what John 17 is about, that Father, that they would be one as you and I are one. And that's really what we want to pursue and encourage and challenge each other too, right?
And one of the things they address in this video that, because some people will have the theological argument against it. They'll say, well, nowhere in the Bible does it mention church membership, which is sort of true, but in this video they kind of unpack that a little bit and say, actually, it's a biblical concept. Yeah, you won't find, chapter and verse that says, here's, become a member, but they kind of unpack a little bit the biblical concept of membership and joining in and what that means. And so, again, I think it's worth checking out the first 10, 15 minutes of it, and then the whole thing if you want. Hey, if you got nothing else to do for an hour, great. It's two people whose theology I trust, even though I turned it off after 24 minutes. I'm like, okay, I gotta move on. Anyways, there's that. And it's about, membership's about just more of a formalizing your partnership in the family of God. And anyways, that's all we're going to say about it, because otherwise we'll just be rambly, and people don't turn on Coffee Talk to hear us ramble about that. They want to hear our hot takes on the NHL and which coffee we don't like or do like. And so, no, I'm just kidding. We want to make sure that you feel, even in these days of separation, we want to make sure that you feel as connected as you can be to the ministry and movement in Lakeview Heights Baptist Church. And so, thanks for spending some time with us today. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday in whatever that means, in whatever ways you can connect, and we will be in touch real soon. Jeff, final word.
God bless you.
That's a good one.